talking to Phil Kidner. He is CEO of the TCCA. And Phil, this event is the 6th annual event of our control rooms. It's a good show. It's a small exhibition, but there's some good topics to be discussed at this event, right? And what are your key takeaways from this morning's sessions, actually?
Well, first of all, this is a really good event, actually. Most of events nowadays tend to be exhibitions with a small conference. This is exactly the opposite. This is a conference where people can come together and talk about the issues for critical control rooms, and the exhibition, although it's small, just enhances that. So it's primarily a conference. Yeah, we ran a live survey this morning with the audience. The audience are all professionals involved in critical control rooms, so they've got valuable opinions, and we asked them questions about where we were going and what were the challenges and things. And actually some of the answers did surprise me. I'm not an expert in critical control rooms. We have a critical control rooms group, and they're the experts in this, but I was surprised by some of the answers, because what's the future of critical control rooms? Is it shared? Is it consolidation within one service? And the answer was clearly shared, and we've been trying to do that for many years, and I was surprised that that's the direction we're going in, but I was convinced by the audience that actually that is the direction. Things like social media, I thought social media was more of a challenge than it actually is. That people seem to have got to grips with it now in critical control rooms and are handling it well. I think it's going to grow exponentially, but they're all geared up to
they were talking not about social media, they were talking about social guarded media, right? But
yes.
It's a different angle to that.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the control room event. Next year there's going to be another event probably, but in the meantime, there are some other events from the TCCA happening. In May there's the TCCA IIR Critical Communications World Congress, but in the meantime you have some other events upcoming. Is that correct?
Okay, yeah. Well, as you quite rightly say, the TCCA Critical Communications World is happening in Amsterdam, end of May, beginning of June, and I'm looking forward to that. And that's our annual large show where we all get together and talk about TETRA, critical communications, the future, etc.
And also control rooms. There's specific control rooms.
There's control rooms, cyber security, big data. All of those things are involved in that show. But yeah, we do other small events as well. I mean, the next small events I say small because they're focused, not because they're small in numbers necessarily. But our next two focused events are TETRA in South Africa and TETRA in Botswana. So we're going to Southern Africa and doing two TETRA events a couple of days apart, because TETRA is still the technology of choice for many critical communications around the world, and we want to update the people in Southern Africa with all the great developments in TETRA. So that's our next two in February. And if you go to our website, you can always see our next events. We have an event zone on the website, and all the latest details are always there.
And you're talking about TETRA to be the main and the dominant technology for voice for critical communications. Soon that will fade away slowly and going into the LTE part of that. Is that correct? That's my understanding from the latest events that I have been attending. And how's your view on that?
Well, the more, excuse me, the more I look into this and the more I find out about critical communications, the more I'm convinced that TETRA, and not just TETRA, other PMR technologies, maybe like P25, like PDT in China and so on, those technologies are going to be here for a long time because they deliver precisely what the critical communications users want, with maybe one or two exceptions, like video is a challenge, some of the data is a challenge. So what you don't do, I believe, is throw away all the good stuff just to get these goodies, if you like, goodies in inverted commas. So I see TETRA P25 working, being available for a long time. We're actually working with the Americans, ATIS, the standards body in North America, to look at how P25 and TETRA will both interoperate, interwork with the critical LTE when it eventually comes. And that's an indication of how we see the future. We see those technologies working with critical LTE for a long time. Yeah.
So for everybody who's thinking TETRA is dead, that's definitely not the case, is it?
No, it's definitely not the case. You know, you would expect me to say that, of course, because I'm the chief executive of the TCCA. But you only have to look around at what's happening. You know, we were talking about Amsterdam. The Dutch police have had a TETRA network since about the year 2000. I don't know exactly when they had it. It's now 2015, and what are they doing? Are they throwing it away and buying LT? No, they're buying a new TETRA network and putting a new TETRA network in today, and they're going to work that alongside LTE for a number of years. So that TETRA network is going to be hit. Well, they're not buying it to throw it away tomorrow. They're buying it because they want 10, 15 years use out of it. So yeah, TETRA's going to be here for a long time. And I see other countries with these national public safety networks that were installed at the beginning of this century doing exactly the same.
What about the UK?
Yeah, the UK are different to everybody else because they don't own their TETRA network. So they only own a piece of paper, and this piece of paper is a contract that says you shall have these TETRA services from this network. So those contracts are expiring, so they have to do something. Yeah. So they've gone out to tender, and they believe that the way forward is to move to LTE. We're all waiting to see how that happens. We all wish them success. But we also all think that maybe timescales are against them. But
time will tell.
Time will tell. The Home Office in the UK will not take any risk with public safety communications, so they'll do it. You know, if they're assured and they have the assurances that what they want to do is there and available and tested and works, then they'll go for it. If it's not, they'll wait. So I have every confidence that they will. You know, what they're actually doing is what some other countries might do in 20, 25 years' time. They are at the cutting edge.
Yeah. Phil, thank you very much for your valuable comment. And I look forward to speaking to you in the future.
Always my pleasure. Thank you very much.